we are going to be discussing profit and loss statements and how those are important for your business. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Patrick Best, the tax attorney at Best Tax Solutions. This is a continuation episode. If you haven't seen the main episode, I am going to put a link in the description. But with me today still is Joanne Leisure of Day One Accounting, and we are going to be discussing profit and loss statements and how those are important for your business. So Joanne, thank you for joining us again.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about profit and loss statements. What are they and why are they important for a business?
Sure. Well, the profit and loss statement, also known as your income statement, measures your revenue minus the expenses that you have spent on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis, and it gets to the bottom line of your net income, or in some cases, your net loss. So it's extremely important to know the pulse of your business. And that's the report that will tell you what you are doing this month, this year, or this quarter.
That's also going to tell you, if you're self-employed, you don't have payroll, what your income is for purposes of loan applications and things of that nature as well.
Correct.
So if you were to apply for a mortgage or a loan of any kind, they're going to say we need a profit and loss statement for either the last 3 months, or maybe they'll ask for the last 12 months, but that is your income. You don't have a paycheck. So there's no other way to show it.
Exactly. And it also helps. There's a few things that your profit and loss can do. So we talked about your revenue. Those are your sales. Okay. But within your sales, there's a cost to having those sales. So we call it the cost of goods sold or the cost of service. Those costs might be, if you're someone like me, for instance, who, I have an outsourced accounting department, it's going to be my software is going to be my cost. I have several softwares that I use to help people with gathering their receipts together or doing their bookkeeping in itself. Those are my costs of goods sold. It tells me when I'm done, just even looking at the revenue versus those costs, what my gross profit is. So before anything else hits, before I pay the light bills, that's the number of my profit. That's the answer. And then after that, then I factor in how much does it cost to keep the lights on, what's rent, how much am I paying, let's say payroll, being the payroll that is on my overhead payroll. How much does it cost for all these different things? Marketing, that's always a big one when it comes to businesses, and really measuring how much I'm actually spending versus how much I'm making. So that's the importance.
There's also implications as far as taxes are concerned as well, because that's really what we use to put together your tax return.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you were going to do your 2019 tax returns, you call me and you say, can you please put together my return? The first call I make is to you.
Yes.
Right? Can I have the P&L for that year? I can't really put it together without it. In fact, if you came to me with a shoebox full of receipts with people have done, I will tell you very frankly, I'm not going to go through it. So not looking through your shoebox, you're going to need bookkeeping services. I would normally tell them to call you so that we can get them set up for the year. So that's a really important part of the P&L as well.
Right, absolutely. And you're lucky if people coming to you with shoeboxes, because they come to me with laundry baskets, suitcases.
My favorite is always the plastic grocery store bag.
Oh yeah, I get it. I actually have to take some plastic gloves and go through it all. Like, really?
Right.
And half the time, a lot of the stuff that's even in there, it's not really useful. Because of the fact that, we haven't really been doing this all this time. You've paid things outside of those business bank accounts and those business credit cards. And so now we've got a map, okay, so you bought this, you didn't buy it with cash, whose credit card is, it can be really a mess, and to kind of map through it. So I won't turn a person away with, the suitcase, but I will get them involved in helping me put that together because it's, it is what it
Well,
is.
it does go to show you the importance of starting early.
Yeah.
Don't wait until you have a suitcase. You should start before that.
Yeah. Way
Uh,
before that. And I can
we've
make it
already,
a lot easier for you.
well, we've already done a video on how to get started with bookkeeping.
Mhm.
So if you haven't watched that, then please click the link for that. I will put that in the description below, but you're going to want to check that out. So, if you haven't started, you still have your suitcase. We'll show you how to do that from the
Yeah,
beginning. But
absolutely.
there's some other really important uses for the profit and loss, again, related to taxes, that I will also call you about from time to time.
Mhm.
And that normally is when there's a problem.
Mm.
So aside from the tax prep, which we see yearly, I'm also going to need those things whenever we have an audit, because the IRS is going to want your backup records of everything that you've done, all of your expenses. Show me where you've deducted this. Show me how you've recorded it. And then also, if we're working on some sort of tax resolution, either in offer and compromise or an installment agreement, oftentimes the IRS is going to ask me for that profit and loss. In fact, a number of the clients that Joanne and I work with together, that's how we get started. They come to me actually not because they wanted to start their bookkeeping, but because they had the IRS knocking on their door, and we kind of had to go back and kind of reconstruct that profit and loss.
Yeah, exactly. And when the IRS comes knocking, it's like a come to Jesus moment. It needs to be done. So,
Yeah, right. And you should not let it get to that point. But if you're watching this and it is already there, we can help you. But you really should start sooner rather than later so it doesn't become a problem. And then if it ever did become a problem, we already have everything already assembled.
absolutely. Absolutely. We already have our processes in place and what needs to be done to capture that information, for you. Um, yeah, whether it be, knowing just how you get your money, whether or not you use contracts or whether or not you are cash and carry, your merchant services, we're going to use all of our strategies to get those reports together for you.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us again.
Mhm.
As I said earlier, I will put all of the links in the description below. So if you want to see the other videos with Joanne, you want to learn more about bookkeeping, all of that information will be below. Her contact information will be below. And as always, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.